Have you ever had one of those weeks where it feels like your house is running you? The garage door jams, the sprinkler system stops working, the appliances are aging out, maybe your neighbor's tree is leaning against your fence, or you've got termites dropping from your ceiling. It's just constant and it wears on you. You start thinking, do I really want to keep doing this? Is it time for a simpler life? That doesn't mean that your home hasn't served you well. Maybe you raised your children there and you have tons of wonderful memories. But between the maintenance and the rising costs and the feeling that your weekends are being swallowed up by to-do lists, you start to wonder, maybe it's time for something smaller, something lower maintenance, something that gives you more freedom. I've helped a lot of families here in Ventura wrestle with that exact decision. Some were thrilled they made the decision to downsize. Others, not so much. There are real pros and cons to consider, and that's what this video is about. Let's talk through it. One of the biggest mistakes that I see homeowners make is having an unrealistic number in mind for what their current home is actually worth. They picture a big sale, a huge profit, and an easy jump into a gorgeous new place. But a lot of the time, that number just isn't realistic. If you're thinking about selling, be conservative. Assume it might sell for a bit less than you originally planned and plan accordingly. That way, when you sell your current home, you're working with realistic numbers for the purchase of your next home, not hypotheticals. Another tip, don't fall into the trap of finding your dream replacement home before you sell your current home. If you do, you may realize you need a miracle price on your current home just to afford that replacement. Ventura's market is still strong, but like the rest of California, prices are still high and your dollar just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. You'd be surprised how many people forget to factor in the actual cost of moving. Call a local moving company right here in Ventura. Get a quote. You might be shocked at what it costs these days. It's not cheap, especially considering how labor costs have just continued to rise. And if you're someone who has a hard time letting things go, your furniture, your books, your knickknacks, everything that you've collected over the years, be honest with yourself. If it's not going to fit in your new space, don't pay to have it moved. Instead, consider a short-term storage unit. I'm talking 3 months, 6 months, maybe even a year. And if you get to the end of that 6-month or 12-month term and you realize you haven't used any of the stuff in that storage unit, it might be time to let it go. Downsizing isn't just about square footage, it's about how you live. Which rooms do you really use? What kind of storage inside the home do you actually need? A lot of people think, oh, we're not going to use extra spare bedrooms. We really don't need all that space. But they forget how downsizing impacts everything. The garage is smaller, there are fewer kitchen cabinets, closet space is limited. You think, it's just you and your spouse now. How much space do you really need? It's an adjustment, and it can be a shock if you're not prepared. Also, keep this in mind. Not all homes are built the same. If you're used to a solidly built home here in Ventura with good insulation and thoughtful design, moving into a cheaper or newer build will be pretty frustrating. I've had clients who moved into newer, smaller construction just to realize, some of those homes are pretty cheaply built. They have poor insulation and they can hear everything. Every seller I've worked with has said the exact same thing. I had no idea how much stuff I had. You probably don't either, but that's okay. I just recommend starting now. Begin with one room at a time. Order a dumpster if you have to. Follow the 80-20 rule. We really only use, and I want to be clear, I'm also in the same boat, we really only use about 20% of the stuff that we have. The other 80%, it's mostly clutter. Or you can use the 90-90 rule. If you haven't used it in the last 90 days and you really don't have any plans to use it in the next 90 days, maybe it's time to let it go. The last time I moved, I found 5 enormous boxes jam-packed full of books that I had completely forgotten about having. I made sure they were at Goodwill the next morning and it felt amazing. This is an important one. Please listen. Do not hire cheap movers. I have helped enough families move and moved plenty of times myself to know that this is one area that if you cut corners in, you will regret it. Bad movers, they don't show up when they're supposed to be there, or worse, things go missing or they get broken. Hire a reputable company, hire a local company. Make sure they have plenty of 5-star reviews singing their praises. Also, it'd be nice if they had insurance. I have a short list of movers that I trust. If you would like that list, simply send me an email. Final note on this topic, make sure that you label all of your boxes. What's in them? Where do they go? Have a first day box for each room. This should have essentials that you will need immediately. Trust me, there is nothing worse than moving into a new home only to go digging through 14 different boxes just to find your toothbrush. Downsizing often means leaving behind years of memories. As I said earlier, you probably raised your kids in this home. You may have planted trees to honor somebody that you lost. This stuff matters and it can hit you really hard. One thing that I have recommended to clients, and trust me, this is going to sound cheesy, I know that, but it helps. Write a letter to your home, say goodbye, say thank you, reflect on all the wonderful memories or even the challenges that you had while living in that space. It can offer real closure and make the transition feel just a little bit less overwhelming. When you're downsizing, you're not just picking a new house, you're choosing a new lifestyle. You want to be close to downtown Ventura. Maybe you need to be near the beach or walking distance to restaurants in Midtown, or out on the East End near your kids or your friends. Make sure the next neighborhood supports the life that you actually want to live. I've sadly seen people downsize into a new home, the perfect home, only to realize it is isolated or disconnected. I've had retired clients moving into neighborhoods with a lot of other retired people. And yeah, that made sense at first, but they ended up hating it. They missed seeing young families out for an evening walk or kids playing basketball in the street. You can avoid that mistake by really taking the time to think through the lifestyle that you want to live in that next chapter. Ventura and our neighboring cities have a lot to offer, but the right pocket, the right neighborhood matters just as much as the right floor plan. Now let's talk about the upside of downsizing. There's a reason that people do this. Less maintenance, lower costs, unlocking equity, more flexibility, a fresh start. For many of my clients, downsizing gives them the freedom to travel, spend more time with grandkids, or just have less responsibilities in general. It can be the reset that you didn't know you needed. Final thoughts here. If you are considering downsizing, take your time. It can be easy to let fear or the headlines or even pressure from your loved ones cloud your judgment. Don't do that. Be intentional, be informed. And if you're curious what your options are or even what your house is worth in this current market, reach out. I'd be honored to help. No pressure, no sales pitch, just real talk. If this video helped you, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me know down in the comments what your downsizing journey has been like or even what's holding you back. I read and respond to every comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.